Hello, YouTube. If those of you who don't know me, I am Baby Zene, and I first came to YouTube because I was on a healthy hair journey, and at the point in time, I was trying to grow my hair from like ear length, shoulder length, and eventually getting down to my waist length. But an unforeseen thing happened to me during my hair journey. Around May of 2014, I was ecstatic to find that I had finally reached broad strap length, and I was grazing middle back length, and I was really excited that I would finally be getting to my goal length, which was waist length. Plus, I had a bet with my husband that I could do this. But things happen, life happened. So I'm sorry to come to you with the news that my hair journey had to end, because now what you're about to hear is my breast cancer story. I was diagnosed with breast cancer around May 11th of 2014. And if you've been following my videos, they've kind of shied away from what's going on in my hair journey to basically what I am going through day to day with my breast cancer journey. And so this is a totally different journey for me. I actually have my journal here in front of me. It has some important points in there. But one key point that I wanted to bring out is nobody ever wants to hear those words, "you have breast cancer." And 2 years prior to this, my doctor had did a biopsy on me, and the biopsy was precancerous, and he suggested that I take mammograms once every 3 months, whatever. But he wasn't stern enough with me, I don't believe. He made me believe that, I had lumpy breasts, and this was common for a lot of women. And as long as I had my mammograms done every 3 to 6 months, so that they could follow me, that this would be okay. And so my first surgery, I actually ended up having to be hospitalized because when I woke up, my left side of my arm was numb. Then I found out, because I have Cigna insurance, that Cigna will not give you a diagnostic mammogram. It's like they'll do preventative, meaning before anybody knew I had a lump, they would do my surgery. And I'm sorry if I sound kind of hoarse, but my throat is really sore because I've just done my 4th operation, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But let me just tell you what I was going through. And maybe this is some things that you can look forward to if you suspect that you have breast cancer. Now, with me, a lot of people say, "Oh, you don't know if you have breast cancer because you can't feel it. It's not painful." But with me, it was totally different. With me, I could feel like this constant bee sting. It felt like a bee was stinging me from the inside. And so I knew I had had surgery previously, and I always was under the assumption that, that maybe it was scar tissue or something from my previous surgery. And then I started having like these night sweats. And I would wake up and I would be drenched wet. I would have to change my beds. my linens and everything, and I'm like, well, I feel like there's something else going on with me than just, hot flashes. I'm like, well, maybe I'm going through a change of life or something was going on with me, but, I didn't know. So I went to my OBGYN doctor. She also felt the lump, and she suggested that I go and get my my MRI done. And so that's what I did. So my family had planned this family reunion. We were going to Myrtle Beach, and they had done my biopsy, and I was actually in my car when I got the news. I'm sorry, but I'm so hoarse. I'm going to try and do something about my hoarseness right now, but I'm going to just spray this stuff in here. Excuse me. Like, I hope that helps some. Yes, seems to have. Okay. So, I had my mammogram done on April the 2nd. Anyway, my family had got together. We were in the car. We're driving. We're like an hour away from Myrtle Beach because I live in Maryland. And my phone rings. So I'm like, well, I don't know who that could be calling me. Everybody knows I'm on vacation. But then the phone just kept ringing and kept ringing and kept ringing. And I didn't want to answer the phone. So then finally I answered the phone because I recognized that it was my doctor's office calling, but it wasn't my surgeon that was calling. It was my primary doctor who was calling. I hadn't even been to see her. So I'm like, well, what the heck is she calling me for? And so then so I get on the phone and I'm like, well, what's going on? And she's like, can you please call your Dr. Maisel as soon as possible? Dr. Maisel would be my my surgeon. So I call the surgeon's office, and the only people that are in a car with me are my husband, my son, my grandson, my granddaughter, who's 1, and then my son's fiance. And my whole family is planning to be here for this weekend for this family reunion at Myrtle Beach. So I have to try and keep this a secret the whole weekend because I don't want everybody else to be all upset because everybody's there to have fun. They don't need me there dragging them down. So I get my doctor's office on the phone. And I'm like, yeah, they said I'd like to call you right away. And she was like, well, are you sitting down? I'm like, yes, I'm actually in my car. And she goes, are you driving? And I'm like, no, I'm not driving. My husband's driving. And she goes, well, I'm sorry to tell you, you have the cancer. And I'm like, what? She says, you have cancer. And I mean, those words ring so surreal to me. It's like, I can't even explain what it means to a woman to hear those words. I can't explain what goes through your mind, except for a million things. I know that I immediately bust out crying. I knew that I immediately turned around and looked at my son, and I was like, if I die, you guys are taken care of. I have a really good insurance policy for you. My son would not make any eye contact with me whatsoever. And my son's fiance was crying. And then my husband was like, you gotta just think positive. You gotta just think positive. And I was like, this woman just told me I have cancer. Like, I can't find any positive right now. Like, I just couldn't find any positive right now that I wanted to just relay that. So, that happened. And, finally we got there. It was my mom's birthday, my son's birthday, my nephew's birthday. I didn't want to ruin it. We went ahead with the birthday party. Everybody had their birthday party. It was a beautiful weekend, with the exception that I was not myself. I often found myself going off and crying. And then I have a friend, Cindy, and she actually lives in Myrtle Beach. And I called her and I was like, can you please meet me at the beach first thing in the morning so we can pray? Or so I can jump into the ocean, whichever comes first. Like, I just don't understand what has just happened to me. I don't understand what's going to happen to me. I just know that they're telling me that I have cancer, and I don't know what to do. And so I felt like just totally devastated. Especially when my doctor was telling me, you just have lumpy breasts. There's not really anything to worry about. I just had such a sense of false hope that I didn't know what to do. So she met me there 6 a.m. just as the sun was rising on a Saturday morning. And we prayed as the ocean waters rolled in. And then I found myself undressing. And then I was like, well, maybe if I jump in the water, it'll just all wash away. It'll be gone. But like nothing like that ever happened. So I waited until the last day that we were there at Myrtle Beach. And it was the middle of the night. And I couldn't hold it any longer because I was really crying. And I walked into the room of our condo where my mom was staying at. And I was like crying. And she's like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? And I'm like, Mom, like, those test results I had to take, those test results weren't good. I actually have cancer, and I don't know what to do. That's what I told her. And she's like, you'll be okay, you'll be okay. But I just collapsed into her arms, and I just cried. And I cried. And I just felt so bad, and I just felt so guilty, and I felt like I had like ruined everybody's vacation. And I knew this was going to be hard for her to take in because my dad had just died 2 months prior to me being diagnosed with cancer. My brother had died 8 months prior to me being diagnosed with cancer. So my family unit was us four. It's me, Mom, Dad, and my brother. And there's 2 already gone. Now I have to tell Mom that, hey, I'm going to be really sick. I'm not going to be able to help you either. So this is, this is what's going on now. And so I felt really bad about that. And so we sat up on the bed and we cried. And my Aunt Fanny came into the room and she cried with us. And I held my granddaughter, full of uncertainty about whether or not I'll even ever see her graduate from high school. And so my doctor scheduled this big meeting for us, and that was to happen on April the 15th. My correction. I think I was diagnosed on March, April, May, June, July, August. Seems that way. So we went to the big meeting, and when we get to the meeting, my doctor hands me this book, and the book is entitled, You Flunked Your Mammogram. And they gave me a pink rose, and my cousin was there, my god sister was there, everyone was there for support, my husband was there, and then it just started this spiraling journey for me.